Hello YouTube viewers, and welcome back to another episode of HEZI DrawZ, where I draw characters and concepts, whether it be original characters, fan art, or OCs from another franchise. At the same time, I'll be explaining the ideas and choices that I've made during the speed drawing and commenting on what I felt like I could have done better. Today I'll be doing some fan art for the video game River City Girls. So without further ado, let's get to it. First, I'd like to start off with how we kind of ran into this game. Nia pretty much just found it just randomly on the internet, and then he wanted to download it. Typically when it comes to Nia finding games, it's usually like he finds the game, wants to play it, I disagree, but then we wound up eventually downloading it anyway, and we wound up figuring out that it's pretty fun. Plus, me and Nia actually really like co-op games, so that's another plus. But then as I started examining the art style, I noticed that it was actually pretty simple, yet it was really close to mine at the same time. So that was like also another plus when it comes to this video, at least. So I just decided I was going to do this eventually, and eventually here it is. So basically I kind of like was thinking about me and Nia's character designs. Of course, I always like to do the self-inserts into the other franchises that we actually like are a fan of. So it was pretty easy to do it since I typically do. And what I mainly did was I kind of based our outfits off of the characters that we actually play as. If you've actually seen some of our streams, you've seen that Nia plays as Kyoko, so I gave him a type of varsity jacket, if that's what you call it, a lot like Kyoko has. And me, I just gave myself my vintage jacket that you usually see me have, sported with the type of school outfit that Misako has. So yeah, that was pretty easy. And when it comes to the overall like planning out of how the picture was gonna go, I actually took ideas from two pieces of official art from the game. One being the cover art for the case, and also promotional art that kind of like represented this overly exaggerated comic book feel with like a lot of bright colors and all that stuff, which was actually pretty fun to do. The ideas just came together and it was really good. It was really good. So at the time that I had everything pretty much mapped out, then I went to my favorite part, which is the line work. Sometimes I have to like do a lot of lines like over and over again to make sure I get it right, because I like to do it in one stroke. And basically you'll see a lot of that here. I also had to like adjust to like how I shape things compared to like their art style. Like I said, it is similar to mine, but at the same time it's like shaped a little differently to where like it actually like makes more sense and it just like brings it out more. So I tried my best to replicate that, of course, and yeah, it just came out good. I also had to keep in mind like the key points of how the line work is, like where they exaggerate the thickness and where they don't. It wasn't like too tricky because, like said, again, it's close to my art style. So I just had to put two and two together and it pretty much came to me naturally. But I was always using a key reference. Note for everybody who actually thinks poorly about references. References are really important, so like make sure you keep using them. And basically it'll just like come out good. You'll notice that you actually get things right on the first try instead of having to constantly fix your work, you know. At this point I actually started thinking about the color scheme, and basically I kind of wanted it to separate like the four of our characters. Of course Misako and Kyoko are pretty separate already, so then all that was left was for me to actually like think about some colors for me and Nia. The only colors I could think about was pretty much an orange and blue, because I felt like usually Nia has red with his characters, but I decided to go just a little differently with that one. But of course that pales into like the contrast that I had to actually make for the background, which was taken from the second reference I was using, which was a comic book inspired piece. And yeah, I really had to like go across like a couple of colors. I had to really play with it because I noticed that the gray outlining that I was actually doing for from that reference piece was actually pretty hard to see with like such like bright colors. So I had to really think about that. But on top of that, this is the part when I actually had to select what I wanted to color, because the piece was so big. Me having to color in like the individual pieces with just a brush and without a selection was actually troublesome. I don't have that footage in here, but it was, and I decided that coloring it like this with the selections was just way easier. It's a little bit more time consuming when you don't know what you need to select, but at the same time it does make it easier in the long run. So I just did that in case I needed to color things differently and I needed to recolor. Now when it comes to that like polka dot comic book thing, it was hard for me to actually find a really good one. I could have made one myself, but of course I found that it's too much work, so I didn't even bother. But then right after that was done, I just went right on to the next step, which was I laid down a white canvas. I don't know, maybe canvas. And basically I used that to set the foundation for what I wanted to select for when I started coloring, so that I just wouldn't color outside the lines, and it would make it all the more quicker instead of me having to like color and then clean up. And if you continue to watch my videos as I continue to make these out, you'll constantly see me do this a lot, just for the sake of like speeding up the process and everything. But as for like all the colors, like usually people will put them on different layers, but this time I decided to just put it all on one layer, since the coloring isn't really that complicated. So just to make things easier on myself, I just did that. And then what I did use afterwards was I used some layer masks that actually just changed like the darkness and lightness of the colors and all that stuff, and that also helps the progress go a little quicker for me. I recently learned it by watching some guy on Instagram who colored, and it basically let me know that things could be simpler and still look good. There's quite a bit of pieces I actually used this method on, and the pieces came out a lot better than I expected them to. And so ever since then I just decided to like actually use that a lot. Honestly, it would depend though, because sometimes using actual different colors for the shading and all that stuff actually does look a lot better. So that's just something that I just got to take into consideration and actually choose the right times of when to use this method, and actually use different colors on different layers to like make it look better. One thing I also did for the sake of the progress was make sure that I put each individual character onto their own layer, because I noticed that since this was my first time actually kind of drawing in this style, I knew I was gonna have to like change up things a lot and like keep like fixing things as I go along. So putting them on separate layers and stuff like that really did help. So like anytime it was just like a simple fix that I needed to do, I was able to do it right away. And basically after that, the rest was just putting the icing on a cake after that. All I had to do was keep doing all the colors, make sure the colors actually balanced out right, and then after that just do the shading. One thing that I really liked about River City Girls is the dynamics of the characters, because that just made the whole experience that much more fun. And it kind of actually like branched off into my art. The reason it was so easy to like come up with all the poses and everything was because of how much I knew about the character dynamics and all that. And basically the characters are so fun that like it was even suggested that I actually like draw some more of the characters that we've actually seen through our playthroughs. And then I was also thinking maybe I could also make some more fan characters in the future. Heck, even make it some animations, just because it will be that much fun. And basically, this game is just one big treat, especially for my creativity as well. And we just look to have a lot more fun with it in the future. We're also going to be doing a Ricky and Kunio run as well. So who knows, maybe I'll even do some promo art of that one, which that will be an even more fun art piece, to be honest, now that I think about it. But for now, we just have this. And I do say the process of this one was pretty fun because of how simple the art style is, and it's just so fun seeing a good art style, like a good and simple art style, just like come to life as you're doing the piece. And that's one of the things I was happy about while doing this. I just like to see like such good simple art styles. And even as overcomplicated as like a lot of the good art styles are that I actually like to mimic, these ones are the art styles that stand out, that make me want to have a combination of both. So I'll still be experimenting, and this one really did help. It let me know, like, since like said plenty of times in this recording, that it's pretty close to my style, which is like why it's so like inspiring. So that's as much as I can say on the game and this art style, and the rest will just be the footage of me completing this art piece. So I hope you enjoy, and as well enjoy the music. Links in the description.
Trying to look so tough, I'll change it. Kill the lights, gonna fight. Don't you hassle me on this ride. Feel the spite, won't play nice. Don't you bully me. You'll want to run and hide. The impact of your style has faded. You dish it out, let's see if you can take it. Kill the lights, gonna fight. Don't you hassle me on this ride. Feel the spite, won't play nice. Don't you bully me. You'll want to run and hide. Accepting your assault. No more. I'm breaking down that wall. Let's do this. Kill the lights, gonna fight. Don't you hassle me on this ride. Feel the spite, won't play nice. Don't you bully me. You'll want to run and hide.
So overall, the picture came out great, and I really like the contrast between all the characters. And if you ask me, I feel like I really cut our essence. But let me know what you think in the comments below, of course. And if you like to see more of this, remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more, because I will be doing more of this in the future, so stay tuned. And until next time, see ya!